The Government Finance Ministry's money laundering unit was asked by federal police to investigate Greenwald's finances. That's according to a report Tuesday by O Antagonista. The right-wing Brazilian news site said the investigation would focus on whether Greenwald paid for access to leaked records he used in reporting on the Bolsonaro government's Operation Car Wash sting. Activist Post reports that attacks on Greenwald and his family, including husband David Miranda, a member of Brazil's Congress, were criticized by UN and Organization of American States Edison Lanza and David Calle. Nothing, says Police State USA. Quiet like a SWAT team raiding a family home and killing their dog because they're unable to pay their gas bill. The woman whose dog was killed and home destroyed by SWAT officers is Angela Zorich, and her story about her police state experience will shock the conscience. After fighting the system for nearly 5 years, Zorich's family is finally being compensated. Activist Post reports that according to a lawsuit, which was settled this week, Zorich was the victim of a massive military-style raid and subsequent puppycide. The raid was carried out because police said they needed, quote, to check if her home had electricity and natural gas service, end quote. Zorich admitted to the police she did not have gas, but said she did have electricity. Zorich asked for another inspection to prove that she had utilities. The officers told her that was fine, but the investigation would continue. The next day, April 29, 2014, the home was raided by multiple officers from the St. Louis County Police Tactical Response Unit. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
From the creation of the Bible in 1912 by a struggling Baltimore book salesman to the day in 1493 when Christopher Columbus and his crew looked back on their voyage and realized what they truly discovered was themselves. The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On July 21st, 1969, astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first human to set foot on the surface of the moon. The moon, for Christ's sake.
This is Tranquility Base. The Eagle has landed. Jesus H. Christ, Houston. We're on the moon. Over.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy that. We cannot believe you are on the moon.
I'm descending the ladder. Just one more step and I'm wholly living. I absolutely am standing on the surface of the moon. Jesus H. Christ in a chicken basket.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom. It is Sunday, July the 7th, 2019. I'm still not quite used to this new time schedule. It's throwing me off just a little bit, and there's something weird going on with the volume in my headset. Anyway, I'm your host, as always, Ari DeMesso, joined in the studio today by...
Nobody.
Okay, fair enough. So, just listening, to the LRN stuff while waiting on the show to start, they talked about this SWAT team that raided this woman's house over an unpaid gas bill.
Yeah, how does that happen? This was a wellness check to see that she was okay, and they came back the next day and shot her dog, didn't they?
They did. That's pretty...
This is government compassion at its finest. Thanks for your help, guys. I was okay until you shot my dog.
Yeah, it's absolutely one of the most, and I can't believe I haven't heard about this prior to today, but it's one of the most jarring things I've ever heard. So let's back up a bit and fill you in on what's going on.
Maybe that's why they call them jarheads. I'll bet there were some ex-Marines in that SWAT team.
I'm sure there were. So St. Louis County has agreed to pay $750,000 to settle a lawsuit filed by a woman whose dog was killed by police during a no-knock SWAT raid over an unpaid gas bill.
Wow.
Just let that sink in. A SWAT team raided her home and shot her dog over an unpaid gas bill.
And this really shows, how vital government is to the process of enslaving the American people. Because if Exxon had showed up with a SWAT team and started shooting dogs, I'm quite sure that the neighbors would have willingly come out of their house and defended this woman, their neighbor,
Certainly.
But because they were wearing government uniforms, nobody said boo.
Well, according to the
Except
lawsuit
us.
filed by Angela Zorich, members of the St. Louis County Police Department's Tactical Response Unit executed a search warrant on Zorich's home in April of 2014 following an anonymous tip that Zorich had no gas and had gas and electricity service shut off at her house, the latter of which is a violation of the county's housing code. So, stop again.
Who called in that tip?
Some busybody with nothing better to do. Uh-oh. That's annoying. Reason.com has malware-infected ads.
Really?
Yeah, clearly.
Why do you say that?
Because it just popped up and tried getting me to install something. I mean, it redirected suddenly to another website. It was like, oh, no, you're infected. Install this. I've seen it tens of thousands of times. I mean, just close the window and carry on with your life, right?
Yeah, but one doesn't. Usually that's something that's going to happen on a porn site.
Well, it depends.
I don't really expect it from Reason.com.
They get their ads fed to them by probably Google Ads or something like that. So one of these advertising companies ended up getting one of their ads through Google's filters. So any company that runs the Google Ad service or the Apple Ad service or Facebook Ad service, whichever one it was, is going to inextricably get it. It's really bad at TV tropes, or it used to be. I think they finally switched to a different ad service. But yeah, it's definitely annoying. Like, probably 10% of my service calls as an IT person when I worked in Mississippi was people getting these and just calling me like, I've got a virus. And I'd go there and I would just shut down Google Chrome. Or worst case scenario, just restart the computer.
Right.
And they're like, there you go. Virus removed. So anyway, not having electricity in St. Louis County is a violation of their housing code.
Wow.
That's a really good way of the state forcing you to buy a service that you may or may not want.
Well, and even if you assume that everybody wants electricity except the Amish, if forcing you to buy a service that you value less than you value the alternative purposes to which you could put your currency.
Yeah, I could understand, within some context, just not wanting to bother with electricity. Like maybe it's September, you're not going to be home very often, so why bother? Just open the windows and carry on with your life.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could do that. People camp.
Yeah, it wouldn't be for me, but there are ways to do it without it being like some sort of health risk or anything like that. But yeah, so if you don't have electricity in St. Louis County, it's a violation of their housing code. And that's what caused the police to show up. During the raid, police arrested Zorich and shot and killed their dog, a 4-year-old pit bull named Kaya. Of course, it would be a pit bull.
Yeah.
Police argued that Kaya charged them after they entered the home. She did what dogs are supposed to do when people break into your home, giving them no choice but to shoot it. Zorich's complaint says that Kaya made no threatening movements and the officer shot her immediately upon entering the home. Is there not video of this?
Do they have cams, body cams? That would be a good question. I'd like to see a Freedom of Information request for those.
I agree. Zorich's lawsuit says that her infant grandson was in the house at the time of the raid. It also claims that an officer held a gun to her adult son's head, threatening to put 3 in him if he spoke.
Wow.
I mean, typical police state brutality.
Well, I mean, I would say this is slightly beyond the usual, which is why it's notable in the newspaper. I'm sure that a lot of people. Let's put it this way. I think one step below this is routine, but yet still unacceptable. But this is kind of over the top.
You know, we stream on dlive.lrn.fm, and UR5UVM3 just made an interesting point that, you know, it sounds like they should take this up with the electric company. I tend to agree. If the government wants you to have electricity to the extent that they will send a SWAT team to your house just on the suspicion that you don't, then that's an issue. Then they should pay that bill, you know?
Well, or they should just stop sending SWAT teams to your house because you don't have electricity. That's just stupid.
I would agree. Following her arrest, Zorich's home, already under foreclosure, was condemned, and the family was forced to move. So it sounds like she was having a really difficult time in life, or he was having a really difficult time in life. And
or somebody really wanted their property.
And the government, well, it was condemned, so nobody's going to get it. Well, they might get the lead, but they're not getting the house.
Right.
And so the government, in its loving benevolence, sent a SWAT team into the house of this family that was having a hard time, shot their dog, put a gun to one of their son's head, threatened to put 3 bullets in him, then kicked her out, arrested them, condemned the home, and forced them to move. Thank you, government.
Wow.
That was so nice of you. Good God. One of the attorneys who represented Zorich said that Mr. Zorich has really lived this case for 5 years. I think she was terribly traumatized. So, Mrs. Zorich? I'm confused because they keep switching back and forth freely between Mr. and Mrs. Well, or actually, they keep switching back and forth freely between Mr. and she and her. So, I don't know what the status is. I don't know what the gender is of the person about whom we are speaking.
Could they be speaking alternately about this woman and her son?
I don't know. But I think she was terribly traumatized by what happened when the SWAT team came in and shot and killed her dog and pointed semi-automatic weapons at her children. Well, I would tend to agree. That's probably a pretty traumatic experience.
Yeah.
According to neighbors, police were frequently called to the Zorich residence over domestic disputes. Okay, so I mean, white trash. Okay. Not a death penalty for their dog, though. Certainly not an arrestable offense. Certainly not something to send the SWAT team over. And ultimately, you just had some busybody neighbors calling the police over something they should not have ever gotten involved with. And as a result, an innocent puppy was shot and killed.
Maybe it was just a busybody with neighbors calling in the domestic abuse, too.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Free Talk Live.
Yeah, this would work if there was no government and everything worked the right way.
Communism requires central control. There's evidence that the free market works. The marketplace is what has created all of the wondrous things that we have and take for granted in this world. The marketplace is what brings us air conditioning, grocery stores, the internet, all the things that you enjoy, your cell phone, all the things you take for granted. That's not as a result of government. Government slows down and impedes the market. Government restricts freedom and it restricts the marketplace. So, there's evidence that the freer a market is. Look at the computer industry, for instance. The more free and the less regulated a market is, the better the innovation, the better the competition, the better the prices, and the better the quality of the products and the services. I mean, we've got evidence to prove that our economic model is sound.
And look at all the wealthy people that the computer industry has created.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. As always, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Joined in the studio today by...
Nobody.
I am, of course, Arya DeMezzo, and still trying to sort myself into this new time slot. Thankfully, I remembered that I had a show today. Ended up going home last night and drinking some wine, like a half a bottle of wine. I realize that sounds like a lot, but it was a small bottle bought from a gas station, so it's not like a big bottle of wine. And playing Final Fantasy VII, it was disappointing, really.
Why is that?
Because I expected more challenge when I went underwater to fight Emerald Weapon. I don't know how familiar you are all with the game, but he's one of the bonus bosses.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, and he's one of the 2 most difficult bosses in the game. And he's just a bonus boss. You get really nothing for killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a 20-minute time limit unless you go and do some other stuff that I didn't bother to do. So I had a 20-minute time limit to do this. And to increase the challenge, I was like, I'm not going to go increase the time limit. And it took me, I had like 4.5 minutes left when he finally died. It was total waste of time. And I was drunk during this, so I expected, a little bit more challenge than that. And it was just supremely disappointing. Yeah. So anyway, we're talking about the Zorik raid or the SWAT raid on the Zorik family. Of course, I also really want to get into the Donald Trump Revolutionary Air Force thing. because his excuse for this is that his teleprompter went out. It's like, okay, dude, fair point. You know, I give speeches for a living too. I know how badly one can gaffe. I get it. But I have never, in the course of anything, accidentally suggested that we had an Air Force during the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that the word was supposed to be seaports and somebody just put it wrong in the...
Well, he says the teleprompter went out, so he was just speaking without a teleprompter.
Oh.
So nobody wrote seaports as airports or anything. He was just flying off the cuff. And...
so to speak.
During the course of this, decided that, there was an Air Force or an airport during the American Revolution. But that's for later. Let's get back to the...
Was he talking about the American Revolution or was he talking about the War of 1812? Because I was thinking...
Neither one had air forces.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's irrelevant. But I mean, he should have been talking about the American Revolution. But getting back to the story about the Zorich family being raided, in the days leading up to the April 2014 raid, police, acting on a tip that gas and electrical service had been shut off, and because remember, that is a violation of their housing code, inspected the outside of the Zorich's home, marketing it as a problem property. Zorich later called the county police to try and settle the problem property designation. According to her lawsuit, Zorich had a testy exchange with Robert Rink, an officer assigned to the county's problem properties unit. Now, this is a term I'm not familiar with. I can extrapolate what it means, obviously, but it shocks me that a county police force or a city police force, because I don't think counties have police forces.
They generally have sheriff's departments.
Yeah, would have a problem properties unit.
Yeah, that's
not a matter for police to deal with, isn't it?
Yeah, and, that's the kind of thing that gets people swatted.
Yeah,
sending police to do, some useless bureaucrat's job.
It seems like that, yeah, that's something a useless bureaucrat should do to be a little bit less useless. I mean, it's still useless because they're going and just saying, hey, I don't like your home. You can't have that hole in your window or whatever, which, may or may not be true, but it's the homeowner's business. It's not the city's bureaucrat's business.
Mm-hmm.
But at the very least, a bureaucrat wouldn't have gone in and shot their dog.
Yeah, but they sent the 00 bureaucrats.
They did indeed. And Reason just broke again. Reason, what are you doing? So...
apparently buying their gads from Google.
Apparently. So according to the lawsuit, okay, we covered that. However, Zorich said, okay, she agreed to have code inspectors come look at the inside of her home. However... Zorich said she needed to speak with her husband first so that she could arrange a time when he could be there for the inspection as well. Understandable, I guess. She says it's hard to imagine when anyone would run and get a search warrant and send in a SWAT team without first at least calling the homeowner and saying, did you talk to your husband? Let's arrange a time. So she was attempting to arrange an inspection time with them. They gave her between, 1 and 24 hours, and then they raided her with a SWAT team.
Now, I wonder if that was the angry bureaucrat taking revenge. It would be interesting to dust that mission for fingerprints and see if his are on it.
Well, let's remember, it's not a bureaucrat that would have been getting revenge. It's a police officer with the Problems Property Unit.
Oh, okay.
Which you got to imagine has to be a bit of a downgrade from traffic officer. From the people who stand out there with the stop signs. I mean, your job at this point is to hassle people over their homes.
Yeah, they're the lawn cops.
Yeah, poor guys.
Your lawn hasn't been cut.
But that's exactly what happened. The next day, Rink requested and received a search warrant for her home. Within a few hours, police were kicking down Zorich's door. Not knocking and saying, hey, we have a search warrant. We need to come in. Kicking in her door with a SWAT team.
Well, I'll tell you, one person who needs to be tried and executed for this is the judge that issued that search warrant for a no-knock raid on this basis.
Yeah, on the basis of a gas bill.
Yeah. He should definitely be tried for homicide.
Or actually, to be clear,
actually, they didn't kill the people, did they?
No. Well, they killed the dog. I would still argue that was a homicide, but that's
I think
a
that
deeper
stretches
issue.
the definition of the homo part of homicide.
Okay, fair point. I would argue it's still a murder then. So,
okay.
Sidestepping that issue. But yeah, so she was, to be clear, Reason and other sites are painting it as her unpaid gas bill. That's not actually what happened. It was over the allegation that she did not have electricity. Not having gas, presumably, is not a violation of their housing code. If it is, they haven't stated it.
Well, I think what it was is they came to see if she had gas and electricity, and she did have gas, but she didn't have electricity.
Well, no, it's the opposite. She did have electricity, but she did not have
electricity,
gas.
but she didn't have gas.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Zorik's lawsuit also argues that the minor nature of the violations she was accused of should have forestalled the SWAT raid. You gotta wonder.
You think?
You gotta wonder about this cop who goes, okay, this lady doesn't have electricity, we're gonna suit up, break out the SWAT team, kick in her door, and raid her home.
Yeah. He should go up against the wall, too.
Yeah, over her unpaid electricity bill. This is insane. And this is the call to freedom. Don't go anywhere. There's more to get into about this, and we'll get into it in just a moment.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And before we get back into the story about these Oryx, I want to tell you about the Rational Review News Digest, located at rationalreview.com. It's the Freedom Movement's daily news digest, aggregating stories from all over the internet that are of interest to libertarians and to liberty-minded people. They include podcasts, videos, news articles, and more, and they're now a source for people to receive the Call to Freedom's podcasts. So be sure to check them out. Again, that's rationalreview.com. Now, we've been talking about the raid on the Zoric family by the SWAT team of St. Louis County over the suspicion that they did not have electricity. To summarize real quickly, they had a problem property, which, so they were white trash, basically, is what I'm gathering from this, and the county didn't like it. So they marked it as a problem property and assigned a problem property officer to go and inspect it. And the woman was like, look, I don't want to do this when my husband's not here, so let me talk to him and get back to you, and we'll schedule a time for you to come out and verify that I do, in fact, have electricity.
Which makes sense, because in a situation like that, you'd want to have more than one witness there. You'd want to be able to film them while they're doing this. Yeah. Or at least I would want those things. So, yeah,
Well, I would have said come back with a warrant.
Yeah. Well, the problem is when they come back with a warrant, then they kill your dog.
Yeah, well, not in most cases. But
not all the time.
I would have been like, look, just drive by my property tonight. I will leave the porch light on, and you can verify that there is electricity. No need to enter.
According to an article that I read, American police short north of 20 dogs a day, maybe more than 25 dogs a day. Really? It was an insane number. It made me, it was...
You know how many dogs the postal carriers shoot?
None. Yep.
They shoot none.
Yeah. And all they got is a little bit of dog spray.
Yeah.
So what is it with American police that they can't seem to stop killing things? I've seen footage of these pigs shooting a chihuahua that was barking at them. Like, seriously?
Now, do they shoot cats? I'm a cat person.
I don't think they do shoot cats.
Well,
I've never heard of them shooting cats, but they've got this vendetta against dogs.
To clarify, somebody who's chatting on dlive.lrn.fm, it is accurate to refer to them as a SWAT team. They were it said it here at the top of the article. It was not simply armed police officers. It was people with and now I can't find it because I've scrolled past it. They were with I said it earlier, and now I can't find it. But they were, the Tactical Response Unit.
Yeah, that's a SWAT team.
Yeah, that's definitely a SWAT team.
Yeah.
And it was all over the suspicion that they did not have electricity, which she says that they did, and presumably would be able to, has proven that in a court of law, however useless those things are.
My God. Well, the useful thing that they could do, because they obviously won't put the perpetrators in this case to death as they should.
No, the
one
taxpayers
thing
are going to
might do.
The taxpayers are going to foot the bill for this nonsense to the tune of $750,000.
Well, I wouldn't say the taxpayers are going to fit the bill. The government does end up paying that, in that they still tax the same amount, and now they have less left to pay for other things. So, any money that's paid out in settlements doesn't go to imprisoning and killing your children.
So the chaotic nature of these raids also increases the chances of violence. We had a SWAT raid not too long ago here in Keene, New Hampshire. Somebody's girlfriend, he had snapped quite clearly and was stowing his former girlfriend's furniture out of the upstairs bedroom window. He had gone loco, right?
Did the police shoot in defense of the furniture?
Well, let me finish with the story.
Okay.
And he barricaded himself inside his home, and somebody at some point called the police, and he's sitting there laughing and videotaping it as the SWAT team kicks in his door and starts, doing their SWAT team stuff. You can find the video at the Free Keene YouTube channel, I believe. At the very least, you can find the article about it on freekeene.com, which will link to the said video. But yeah, dude showed balls of steel, man. He's got a SWAT team there. He was probably drunk, presumably. So a bit fewer points for courage at that point.
Yeah.
But he's just sitting there videoing them and laughing and just generally not responding to the SWAT team in the way that one would expect. So good on him for that. But I mean, given that officers, homeowners, and their animals are all thrust suddenly into a very volatile situation involving lots of guns, it's not surprising at all that these would tend to escalate into, frag grenades being thrown at children or flashbangs being thrown at children. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
it was a flashbang. It was thrown into a toddler's crib in Texas, I think.
Yeah.
Or Oklahoma.
This is what tax dollars go to pay for. And people are like, oh, but if we don't have the government and police, then chaotic warlords who oppress us will take over. How much worse can it get?
These are the warlords that the anti-anarchists warned you about.
That's exactly what this is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's horrific. I call up not random police departments, actually. I call up generally police departments that are involved in police brutality, and I just randomly call them up and tell them they're all I can't say what I say to them on the air.
Right.
But basically, I tell them that they're the reason we need AR-15s and M16s for that matter, because their corruption.
I think they're the reason we need AK-47s.
AK-47s are good. The bullet tumbles a little bit more, but in war, that's actually good because it leaves fewer dead, more wounded.
That's good. That's true. But I mean, the AR-15 is also not an automatic weapon, and if push came to shove, we would need actual automatic weapons.
Yeah, well, M16 is
but
fully automatic.
They're plastic American junk, though. Yeah. I mean, go with the AK-47.
Well, okay,
you can shove sand down the barrel of that thing.
That I can't say is fair because the AR-15 is much more of a precision weapon than the AK-47.
Well, the AK-47 isn't meant to be a precision weapon.
Yeah, the AK-47 is actually, it's manufactured the way it is because the Russian machine shops were terrible. Everything that came out of them was full of slop. So some genius designed a gun that could operate when it was full of slop.
Yeah, but that's
and
brilliant.
The nice thing about that is, you can drag it through the river and drag it through the mud, and it will still go off when you pull the trigger. Which, very important because, you shouldn't be pulling triggers lightly.
Agreed. So back to the SWAT raid. We're not encouraging shooting it, but let me back up. Are we encouraging shooting at the government? I think we are because it was just the 4th of July. And because of the new schedule, Call to Freedom was not live on the 4th of July. But I would like to point out that the proper name of the holiday is Shoot the Government Day.
Yes.
So happy belated Shoot the Government Day. And it's so weird now having people in government exonerating and venerating this holiday that is literally about shooting them. Sir, Mr. Trump, You are the people that would be shot at if the 4th of July, if the Revolutionary War happened today.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
idiot.
And specifically, it's Shoot a Tyrant Day. And I think what they don't understand is they have become more tyrannous than the government of George III ever was.
Oh, by far. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt. Well, it's about the same, I would say. The scopes have changed a bit in that we don't have geo warrants and things like that, but this is essentially what King George III would have done in this situation is, she doesn't want to pay her tax to the crown, send in the SWAT team.
The thing is,
kill her
he
dog.
wasn't even enforcing a tax to the crown. He was just enforcing a random decree.
Well, in some ways it was a tax, but we'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere. There's a little bit more to get into.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. And speaking of police, if you've ever wanted to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them, or bust people for drugs and then sell the drugs on the side for a nice little bonus, or just in general enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork, then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, which you can find at thinbluelinegame.com. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone after breaking into their apartment and escape accountability by saying it was dark and I thought it was my apartment. Go get it. Again, that's thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and battery is not included, but for a limited time, you can use the coupon code CTF to have all shipping costs waived. So go check it out. Again, that's, what did I just say? I'm doing too many things at once. Thinbluelinegame.com. So we've been talking about the SWAT raid on the Zurich family over an unpaid electricity bill, over an alleged lack of electricity, rather. And the whole thing is just absolutely shocking. We got into a discussion a moment ago about whether or not this was really the government coming down on them for not paying their taxes. I would say it was. When you have the county bureaucrats saying you have to pay your electricity bill or we're going to evict you from your home, that's essentially just fascism, right? It's because most of these counties, most of these municipalities, in whatever category they're placed, they only have the one electricity company, and that's usually by design. It's a state monopoly in most cases.
Yeah, state-issued monopoly where they've come to a contract with some company that they will be the sole provider of electricity in a particular area.
Yeah, so the government, in this particular case, the state is like, you have to pay this money to this institution or we're going to evict you. We're going to use force. We're going to send a SWAT team in to kick you out of your home. That, to me, is a tax.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of a cronyist regulation, but sure, you can call it a tax. They did end up calling the Obamacare mandate a tax in the Supreme Court. So, and it's a very similar.
That's interesting
thing.
Because that's a fine. But I would agree that all fines are taxes.
Yeah, well, what is it? A tax is a fine for doing good, and a fine is a tax for doing bad.
Seems accurate. Or what they say is bad, anyway. Because I don't see what the 19-year-old walking down the street here in Keene smoking a cigarette is really doing that's worthy of the $75 or $500 fine, whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine with me if she just keeps smoking her cigarette.
Did you know you can drive down the sidewalk in Keene and it's only a $50 fine?
Wow.
Yeah.
You want to go sidewalk driving later?
I will ride with you while you do it. But I am not
really. I kind of expecting a world of no on that. But okay.
Oh no, they're still bothering me, so it's time for me to bother them.
Yeah, I mean the problem is, I mean, if you can find a sidewalk that's populated solely by bureaucrats and police, that's one thing. But
you would definitely have to do it at night, right? You wouldn't want to do that during noon when there are people wondering, because it's a highly walked city. There are constantly people walking around the town of Keene.
Yeah. Now,
my latest plan, as I'm sure you've heard, Rich, but people listening at LRN.FM and DLive.LRN.FM and Twitch.LRN.FM and YouTube.com/RDMSO and, all the other places that we're broadcast may not be aware, my current plan is to cop block the police, but simultaneously hitting on them profusely. Like,
why?
I love a man in a uniform and things like that. And, you have those handcuffs? I've got the perfect bra to match them. It's just making it extremely awkward until they finally get tired of it and file a restraining order against me for sexual harassment.
Yes, I call this your Creep the Police campaign.
Yes. Yes, exactly that. I think it will be awesome. That will go on my wall next to my college degree. Restraining order from police for sexual harassment. and then in the time being, I will get to do some cop blocking until they put a restraining order out against me, which would be an interesting legal thing in and of itself, you know, because technically I am cop blocking, and I'm fairly sure there have already been court cases about this.
Well, if they did give you a restraining order ordering you to stay 100 feet away from police, I think that would also require police to stay 100 feet away from you. So that would be really cool.
I'm not sure. Brian Ellison of the Libertarian Party Audacious Caucus and former representative candidate actually did get a restraining order against him by police.
Really?
He did.
Wow.
But they wrote it in a way that still allowed the police to interact with him under suspicion of, you know, crimes or whatever they call a crime. So they're able to write it in a way where you can't approach the police, but they can still approach you, which is screwed up.
Yeah, that really is.
But I mean, that's the state, you know. When you start pushing too hard against them, they go to their restraining orders. I want that badge of pride that says, yes, I do have a restraining order against me by the police. That to me would just be epic, and all the better because I'm going to make it super awkward, and all of this is going to be on video, live streamed to my YouTube channel, and all of that great stuff. Wow. So it's going to be super funny. I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do to me anyway, right? They've made that pretty clear. When I pull in from work and it's 2:30 in the morning and I'm sitting there finishing my cigarette, which takes like 2.5 minutes, and in that time period, 3 different police officers drive by, 2 Stadies and a Keene PD Cruiser, it becomes pretty clear that this probably, and it happens every single night, it's probably not coincidence, you know? Not at that time, predictably every single night this week.
It would be interesting to put a road-facing camera like in your bathroom window so you could record what the police are doing and see if there are correlations with your movement and to what extent.
That's true, and I have the capabilities of doing that.
I think you do.
Yeah, well, I know I do.
Yeah.
So I may look into doing that since I will be available Monday and Tuesday in order to do that. But yeah, it's
the cameras we have up here are like they're hardwired, but you can also get Wi-Fi versions of the same.
Well, I would just run a hardwire. I mean that's a simple solution.
Yeah, that's true. It's not really hard.
No, I mean it
depends on how permanent you want it to be, but I think that house should get cameraed.
Well, it used to be cameraed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It isn't now. I don't know the circumstances of that. I just know that they're...
Why'd they blind the house?
I don't know. There's still a sign right there on the windows before you go in saying, by entering, you agree to be video and audio recorded.
Oh, okay.
So that sign is still there because this is a 2-party consent state, but that doesn't apply to police. Police do not have to consent when they're out in the public doing their thing to be video and audio recorded.
Now, this is something that I wondered because I do, as I mentioned, call police and give them a hard time. I that's how I offload some of my angst. But so would it be legal for me to record and broadcast those calls in New Hampshire?
It depends on the state of the other law enforcement that you're calling. If you're calling New Hampshire police, yes, it would be legal. As I understand it, I'm not an attorney.
Yeah.
I'm not offering legal advice.
And the Glick decision was a federal decision. The decision that you have a right to record police in the performance of their duty. Is that limited to public places?
I do not know.
I don't think it is.
So, all of this police nonsense is brought about by the police. And we covered a few weeks ago a story about how police were depressed on social media and killing themselves because there were so many bullies on the internet who were saying mean things about them.
Oh, poor piggies.
And then you have news stories like this, where the SWAT team was sent in within 24 hours of a woman attempting to schedule an investigation over whether or not she had electricity, which shouldn't have been a freaking regulation in the first place because it's just cronyism, it's just fascism, it's just the state providing electricity but going through the veil of a third party and pretending like, you're not buying socialized electricity when in fact you are.
Right.
And within 24 hours of all of that, sending in a SWAT team, which puts a gun to her son's head, threatens to put 3 bullets in him, kills their dog, evicts them from their home, forecloses it, condemns their home, and, traumatizes them for the rest of their lives. That's the American police state. And it's only gotten worse since 2014. But don't go anywhere. There's lighter stuff to talk about, like Donald Trump and the American Revolutionary Air Force. We're going to get into it in just a moment.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,402. Silver at $15.03, and Bitcoin is trading at $11,279. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Iran has called for the immediate release of its oil tanker after British Royal Marines boarded and seized it off Gibraltar after it took a long 90-day trek around the tip of Africa, presumably to evade sanctions enforcement en route to Syria. Authorities had accused the Grace 1 supertanker of illegal smuggling, as it had reportedly been transporting some 2 million barrels of Iranian oil. The anti-media reports that Iran's foreign ministry had immediately summoned the UK ambassador over the incident, saying the move was unacceptable. An official statement of protest called for the immediate release of the oil tanker, given that it had been seized at the request of the U.S., based on the information currently available. Iran's position is that the EU sanctions on Syria have not been endorsed by the UN, while the U.S. received the news as a positive development in the global crackdown on Iranian oil. But Syria and Iran, as well as some Arab commentators, have shot back that some of the few dozen Royal Marines seizing the tanker by fast roping it on a helicopter amounts to piracy. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The Brazilian government is targeting one of its biggest critics, journalist Glenn Greenwald, in a move decried by observers as an intimidation tactic designed to stifle opposition to right-wing President Bolsonaro. The Government Finance Ministry's money laundering unit was asked by federal police to investigate Greenwald's finances. That's according to a report Tuesday by O Antagonista. The right-wing Brazilian news site said the investigation would focus on whether Greenwald paid for access to leaked records he used in reporting on the Bolsonaro government's Operation Car Wash sting. Activist Post reports that attacks on Greenwald and his family, including husband David Miranda, a member of Brazil's Congress, were criticized by UN and Organization of American States Edison Lanza and David Calle. Nothing, says Police State USA. Quiet like a SWAT team raiding a family home and killing their dog because they're unable to pay their gas bill. The woman whose dog was killed and home destroyed by SWAT officers is Angela Zorek, and her story about her police state experience will shock the conscience. After fighting the system for nearly 5 years, Zorek's family is finally being compensated. Activist Post reports that according to a lawsuit, which was settled this week, Zorek was the victim of a massive military-style raid and subsequent puppycide. The raid was carried out because police said they needed, quote, to check if her home had electricity and natural gas service, end quote. Zorek admitted to the police she did not have gas, but said she did have electricity. Zorek asked for another inspection to prove that she had utilities. The officers told her that was fine, but the investigation would continue. The next day, April 29, 2014, the home was raided by multiple officers from the St. Louis County Police Tactical Response Unit. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Already struggling to get by on the basic necessities of day-to-day life, lunatics across the nation confirmed today that they are now barely able to afford the quickly rising price of car meat.
I've got 14 Barbara Streisands to feed and 3 more on the way. Day and night they shout, "We're hungry, Admiral. We want grade A Honda loaf. We want Nissan truck."
I just want to know what Bruno Mars plans to do about this. He sits around all day eating Audi ribeye and limousine bouillabaisse while we scrape by with taxi shanks. Meanwhile, the men at arms are still overseas fighting the war on Wheel of Fortune.
For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. As always, we're broadcasting live from the Keene, New Hampshire studios. I'm your host, Aria DeMezzo, author of Dancing in Hellfire, which you can find on Amazon. Joined in the studio today by...
the nobody formerly known as Rich Paul.
And it's time, finally, to get into Donald Trump's stupid airport statement. So, President Donald Trump took some lumps over Thursday's remark about Continental Army taking over the airports during the Revolutionary War in 1775. More than 150, or about 150 years before the airplane was invented. He says, yeah, the teleprompter went out. It kept going on. And then at the end, it just went out. It went kaput. So I could have said, and actually right in the middle of that sentence, it went out. And that's not a good feeling. God, his stream of consciousness babbling is just absolutely absurd. And that's not a good feeling when you're standing in front of millions of people on television. And I don't know what the final count was, but that went all the way back to the Washington Monument. And I guess the rain knocked out the teleprompter. Well, that settles that, except it doesn't, because I don't think that losing access to your teleprompter should cause you to begin spouting out nonsense.
What exactly did he say in context? Let's
Well, I'm hoping they're going to get into it. The president told reporters that as he was about to aboard Air Force One that yesterday's rain interfered with his Salute to America teleprompter and that he occasionally had to wing the speech, seeming to suggest that the airport comment may have been one of those moments. They're not saying what the actual statement was. That is journalism fail. So, rain or not, critics of Donald Trump are in no holiday mood to cut the president any slack whatsoever. Well, of course not. It's Shoot the Government Day after his attention-grabbing salute to America yesterday. One pundit compared him to an angry grandpa reading his grandson's 5th grade history report. But the easiest gaffe to pick on was Trump's assertion that the Continental of 1775 manned the air. It rammed the ramparts. It took over the airports.
Rammed the ramparts?
Yeah, I don't think he knows what ramparts are. You might ram the walls that are supporting the ramparts, but you're not ramming the ramparts themselves. Not without considerable feats of engineering and monumental wastes of time. Take out the wall and you'll take out the ramparts.
What exactly is a rampart?
It's the sort of walkway thing above like forts and castles and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
They certainly did not man the air, and they certainly did not take over the airports.
When was the first use of air power in a military conflict? Do we know?
World War I? Well, maybe not the first.
Could we ask Google?
I mean, we could. I don't know if it's particularly of note. I mean,
I'm just curious to find out how far off he was.
Well, he was at least 110 years off, at least.
From what?
From when the airplane was invented.
Okay, was the first military use of air power an airplane? Because I seem to recall Napoleon using balloons.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. I don't know that.
See, that's why I'm curious.
I don't know that it's particularly relevant.
Well, next time I'll make sure I have my own computer, and then I'll just look it up myself.
The Continental Army was certainly not manning the air, and they certainly did not take over the airports. I think that's the important takeaway here.
Yeah, well, it is interesting.
So faster than you can say, must I check my musket? Social media responded with jibes and swipes at Trump's bizarre mangling of history. There were a few other foul-ups. British General Charles Cornwallis was not of Yorktown, but rather lost there. Well, I will forgive him for that one. But it was the image of air traffic controllers in tricorn hats that proved most irresistible to the wisecrackers. Here's a sampling. This should be good. Dear Donald Trump, it just occurred to me that you and my great-great-grandfather were on the same flight in 1812. The family stories of the emergency landing during the red flare are absolutely riveting. Just curious, what time do you start sundowning? I guess those were supposed to be jokes. I didn't find them to be particularly clever or humorous.
Yeah, Citizen Arcane there.
Apparently, we took LaGuardia Airport from the Brits in 1776 and have been trying to give it back for 243 years. None of these are particularly interesting. I mean, these are all celebrities and verified accounts and stuff. It's generally the ordinary people out there who have much better snarky comments for the president. This is supremely disappointing. That's obviously he meant ports, says Laura Ingram. Trump mistakenly claims revolutionary soldiers took over airports in Salute to America speech. Well, he may have neglected ports, but I don't think he meant ports. I mean, he said airports and manned the air, both within the same sentence. I think it's pretty clear here that he did not mean seaports.
Yeah, I don't know what manned the air means.
So that fizzled out quickly and disappointingly. I would have expected much more than just celebrity tweets in response, because celebrities, although they are, generally pretty funny, it's the ordinary people out there who are tweeting nonsense about this that just make it so funny. Like the war letters from the meme war that took over Twitter a year or two ago. They were just hilarious. And it wasn't because, George Takei or Laura Ingraham was tweeting them. It was because ordinary people were, and theirs were generally the funniest.
I don't even remember that meme wave.
The meme war? They were letters from soldiers fighting in the meme war, written like Civil War era soldiers would have written.
Oh, wow. I haven't heard any of that.
It was hilarious. So I guess we're going to move on to Venezuela death squads. Generally the expected outcome of socialism. It's no surprise that Venezuelan death squads have killed thousands and covered it up, according to the United Nations. So Venezuelan special forces have carried out thousands of extrajudicial killings in the last 18 months and then manipulated crime scenes to make it look as if the victims had been resisting arrest. Well, that sounds familiar. The United Nations said on a Thursday report detailing wide-ranging government abuses targeting political opponents. Special action forces, described by witnesses as death squads, killed 5,287 people in 2018, about 3 times as many killed by American police, and another 1,500 by mid-May of this year. So again, about 3 times as many people. So, I mean, they're not terribly out of line versus the American government and the people that it's killing, but none of it's good.
Yeah, and is that the number of people killed by police that year, or is that
the number of
just
people
the number
killed
of people
by police
killed by this one group, one operation?
Well, it's people who were killed by special action forces, whatever those are. I don't know. I don't know anything about the police system of Venezuela. Laying out a detailed description of a lawless system of oppression, the report says the actual number of deaths could be much higher. It cites accounts by independent groups who report more than 9,000 killings for resistance to authority over the same period. There are reasonable grounds to believe that many of these killings constitute extrajudicial executions committed by the security forces. The report, which UN Human Rights Chief Michelle Bachelet will present to the Human Rights Council, delivers a scathing critique of President Maduro's embattled government and its handling of Venezuela's deepening political and economic crisis. The one that they continue to insist does not exist, even as Maduro is going out there and telling people to breed rabbits in order to eat them because they don't have any other food. I actually enjoy selling Bitcoin Cash to people in Venezuela. If I know that they're from Venezuela, I will generally give them a special rate, a decreased rate. Not to the extent that I'm losing money, but that I'm making significantly less profit because they need it. That's life-saving to them.
Yeah, and it demonstrates the power of the concept, the power of trading in a stable or appreciating currency instead of a depreciating currency.
Absolutely. There's more to talk about Venezuela, so don't go anywhere. This is The Call to Freedom.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Officials at PepsiCo announced today the upcoming launch of Mountain Dew Cinnablast after the company's market research team unknowingly fell victim to a malicious focus group that convinced them cinnamon-flavored Mountain Dew was the next big thing.
The people in the focus group, they couldn't get enough of it. And then they said, the more cinnamon, the better. So We are going to put in more cinnamon. We are really excited for people to try this product.
According to PepsiCo's data, all gathered from a single group of ill-intentioned respondents, customers of all ages will love the new soft drink's murky brownish-green color and will soon be lining up to try the carbonated beverage jam-packed with ground cinnamon. Various members of the focus group told reporters they believed the company had made a great decision.
Cinnablast is the best. I mean, I can't wait to tell all of my friends to go buy this thing.
Yeah. The only way they can make it better is if they took a couple of raw eggs, mixed them up in the bottle. People would go nuts.
This is the Onion News Network.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you want clearer quality, as though you're sitting here in the studio with us, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And speaking of phones, we're going to go to the phone lines now. We've got Rev calling in from Florida. Rev, what's on your mind? You're on Call to Freedom.
Well, this will be a much more coherent call than the last one, and the last one I make for a long time. But I hope you guys are doing well. So I wanted to talk about the, these butthole police. I don't know what to say about this anymore. I'm walking home having a cigar after getting something nice to eat, and I'm listening to your show. And so basically this lady essentially literally had her door kicked in by these buttholes. They shot her dog, and they threatened her and messed up her place because of, like, a light bill. Is that what you're telling me?
Essentially. She was accused of not having electricity, which evidently in St. Louis County is a housing code violation. And when she was attempting to schedule with them a time for them to come out and verify that she had electricity, they applied for a search warrant, got it, and then executed a no-knock SWAT raid on her home, within 24 hours.
What a crime against humanity, not having electricity. You know, this is why I can't divorce like some of the inner libertarian in me. You know, like I got one foot in fascism and one foot in the libertarian stuff. And I know that sounds
You sound like the U.S. government.
Yeah, you know what? In a way, Rich, you're right, which is ironic because I hate the U.S. government. You know,
Maybe you should rethink.
Well, you know,
I think you'd better think it out again.
Well, I do want to ask you something in a second here, and not take too much time, because correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I want to finish the police thing first, but you have had, without not like you care about putting your personal business out there, but is it true that you have had a history formerly with alcohol abuse yourself?
He's talking to you.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, you name the chemical, I've done my best to abuse it, for at least briefly, with the exception of opiates. So yeah, during my teenage years, I had some issues coming to terms with alcohol and cocaine, and I ended up going to AA for about 22 years. After which, the reason I started smoking weed again is so I could start the 420 rally on the town common in Keene. And it turned out that weed and alcohol were not the issue that they have been for me. I just don't like alcohol very much anymore. Once in a while I'll drink, but that's about it.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. So just hold that for a second. So
I was drunk 12 hours ago.
I know. Me too. Yeah, I was causing trouble. Well, nothing bad. I wasn't like, well, it was kind of bad. I wasn't starting fights on her, whatever. I even had to take a break from my own Telegram groups, man. So I hope Aria keeps holding it down. I'm going to keep those open, but I had to take a hiatus, which I'm taking from the internet and from calling and interacting with people for a while. But anyway, so yeah, with this police thing, like, look, here's the thing, man. At the end of the day, like, I am philosophically, like, idealistically, I think I am like a closet anarchist. I think I really would like every group, even groups I'm not a big fan of, you know, certain ethnic people with certain amounts of money that do certain things. Granted, to some degree, all people do it. I get that. But the point is, you know, man, why don't people, like, I'm a coward too, watching the language. I'm a coward too, in a way. You know, even though I carry weapons on me and the butthole police know I have the concealed license, they can't do nothing. They know me at the beaches. They don't like that I carry it in my beach bag. Nothing they can do, right? Because I've been in some hairy confrontations. And, there are some cops that, like, I've been detained so many times, which is probably not hard for any of you to believe. But, you know, I could have been arrested. And I have some cops that legitimately were trying to do the right thing and be good people, friends of the family, that kind of let me slide, and I let them know, like, hey, thanks, you know. So those cops are not the total a-holes like the SWAT team and stuff. But it's like, at what point, I'll bring it to a head here, at what point do you just have to draw a line and say, listen, what you do, if some a-hole's running around murdering kids or something, okay, I get it, put them down. But it's like, at what point do you say, no, you are not much different than a Sturmfuhrer. You are not much different than a Bolshevik scumbag. You know, because as much as I glorify fascism sometimes, and it is powerful, and it is manly, it taps into that man side of me, it's primal, like, it really is destructive stuff. So I just wanted to hear, well, when are people going to fight back and start Molotov cocktailing cops?
Time out. Are you talking about toxic masculinity?
A little bit, yeah. I can't believe I'm admitting that, but yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So, I mean, at what point, are you asking at what point do we do something about the totalitarianism and the police that enforce it? Or are you asking about the dividing line between a just and good police force and a police state authoritarian one?
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're saying, at what point do I go to war with the current tyranny so I can impose my own tyranny? So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to help, bro.
Yeah. I've been thinking about that lately. I mean, I'm not going to turn my back on some of my ideas, and, you know, even if I wanted to, like, and not to bring the guy up again, he has enough problems, and I don't want people to think, oh, I don't even watch him anymore. I haven't for months, but, you know, sorry, stupid motorcycle outside. like Cantwell, like when you realize certain things that he knows and that I know, and that a lot of the, quote, alt-right, or what was the alt-right when it was a real, boots-on-the-ground movement, no, you can't unknow those things. At the same time, there's a moral quandary, as subjective as morals are, as to, like you just said, Rich, is my own radical authoritarianism better? Because I will allow people to have more rights, and I don't expect it to go anywhere or do anything. But I'm just saying, when do people, not you guys, but when do people start Molotov cocktailing, police's houses and their kids and stuff? Like, I'm not trying to advocate that on the radio, but Cantwell even got kicked out of the Free State for that. Not even for the Nazi stuff. Like Cantwell and Ian are two of the only consistent guys, and they've been treated like garbage for being consistent about stuff that makes people
Cantwell's consistently garbage person, so I can't say that it's unfair that he be treated like garbage. Not consistently. He's grown into a role as a garbage person. I remember when he was consistently on the side of right. The answer is that anything that you may think you know about demographics is irrational or is irrelevant in a libertarian society, because guess what? If you leave people alone and let them stand and fall on their own merits, then people who have merits are going to rise, and people who lack merits are going to fall and eventually be weeded out of the gene pool by simple economics. So you don't have to worry about figuring out for Mother Nature who's going to do well and who's going to do badly, because nature's going to do what nature's going to do in a free society.
That's essentially the position that I take as well. It's very Nietzschean, very Darwinian. I mean, what's going to happen is going to happen, and attempting to direct that it's a conceit.
It's eugenics.
This is the Call to Freedom.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. I'd like to take a moment to invite you to check us out on social media. You can find us on Facebook by using @the Call to Freedom, but don't be surprised if we're non-responsive there. I am currently banned from Facebook for like another 3 weeks for having the audacity to talk about myself on Facebook and use the word tranny while doing so. They apparently did not approve of that. You can also find us on Twitter by using @CTF_LRN. Sorry about that. There's nothing we can do. And on the Liberdon server of Mastodon by using @Call to Freedom. And we're joined now by Rev, who says he has additional questions he would like to ask. We've been talking about the merits of individualism and personal merit versus collective merit, which I think is the red herring that collectivists tend to focus on. You know, it comes back to that eggs aren't real thing that people really like to blow out of proportion. But at the end of the day, yeah, the group is not a real thing. It's just a construct of ego. It is, as Max Stirner would call it, it's a spook.
Yeah. Darwin actually warned against man trying to take conscious control of genetics and evolution, and what he says is that if men are left to make the decisions about evolution, that they will dwell on the apparent and unimportant rather than, like nature, taking literally every facet of each individual into account when nature determines whether you survive or you don't survive. And I think that although there are things that I'm drawing a blank on this name, Malthus. A lot of the theory of evolution was drawn by the work of Malthus, who talked about economics and population and how there is a tendency in those days for population to grow to exceed production, and then for there to be basically a mass die-off until the population falls back below the amount that can be supported by the society. Yeah. And Darwin went on to theorize that during this process, those most capable of making the best of a bad situation would survive, while
because
those
that's what evolution values. Would die. That's what natural selection values, is adaptability. It's not strength, it's not power, it's not intelligence, it's not any of that. It's simply raw adaptability. So, Rev, what other questions did you have for us?
I mean, I don't know. My thing with it was more of a personal thing. Like, you know, you both have put an awful lot of your personal stuff out there. And I guess I put a little bit of mine too. But you know, like Arya has these buttholes driving by her house right now. You know that, Rich. You've seen them. Ian's had, you know, you guys
Ian is able to personally attest that, yes, there is at least one state trooper who is unequivocally out to get me. And I have several coworkers who can attest to that as well, having seen it in person with their own eyes repeatedly.
So what do you do? You know, like, you can't shoot him. You can't, like I was saying, if New Hampshire open carry
you can
is legal,
shoot him, and that's eventually. I mean, if there is a
he doesn't mean it's
successful-
physically impossible to shoot them. He means that it would be one of the worst things I could do with my life to shoot one of these state troopers. That's what he means.
Under those circumstances, certainly.
Under any
but I wouldn't be
circumstances.
surprised if the revolution did break out, in part because somebody sees an act of police brutality and they happen to be armed and they shoot in self-defense, and that's
I
a
will
very
condemn-
defensible shoot.
I will condemn this revolution when it breaks out.
but then what's the point? Like I'm
What?
not trying to tear your guys. I know it's like, Ari, you're like a more peaceful, like Rich is a really. It's funny. He calls himself a hippie, and I think in many ways he is. But he's like as warlike as me. His thing is just in defense only. You're very big on self-defense as well, but you don't want to hurt anybody. But it's like, how is anything going to get done about any of this if nobody hurts anybody? You have to. That's what Cantwell realized, man. That's
You
why
don't
the
have to.
fascist stuff.
You don't have to. You wither the state away slowly, systematically, ideologically, and with things like cryptocurrency.
The thing is, you can't wear the state away while also letting the state
But you can.
confiscate an arbitrary portion of your income all the time. Because as
Did
long
you not
as
hear
they
my
have
point about
money-
cryptocurrency?
Well,
they can't confiscate your cryptocurrency. Problem solved.
Actually,
Bam.
they did confiscate Ross Ulbricht's cryptocurrency, and they auctioned it, and people bought it, and it's still in circulation.
Well, it's not a foregone conclusion that they're able to confiscate your cryptocurrency. There are ways to hide it from the prying eyes of the government. Or just use Monero.
True,
or
but so
something
long
like
as
that.
they can seize your real estate and your real goods, you know.
But they can't take your cryptocurrency, and with your cryptocurrency, you can just buy more real goods, more
Well,
real
if
estate.
you happen to have an awful lot of it, but most of us aren't millionaires.
And I mean, obviously, they can target one individual person who happens to have a lot of cryptocurrency. The goal here is to get mass adoption. I'm not saying that cryptocurrency, as it's used today, is going to suddenly destroy the state. And I don't know why
Well, of
Rich is
course not,
characterizing my.
because
Please stop.
Okay.
I don't know why you're characterizing my position as that. I'm talking. I mean, an armed revolution would have no more chance of success today in these circumstances than would cryptocurrency today in these circumstances. I mean, we're both looking into the future and imagining various circumstances about how things are going to play out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on the size of the revolution. Obviously, a
Well, it
revolutionary.
depends on the size
with-
of the number of people using cryptocurrency. If you have enough people to successfully armed revolt against the American government, then you ipso facto have enough people to successfully wither the government away by using cryptocurrency.
Can I say?
Sure.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rev.
My prediction for the future is very easy. Not that I'm some great oracle, even though I look like Rasputin. My prediction is that, you know what?
I was told Charles Manson. I was told you look like Charles Manson.
Him too, like before he shaved his head, and I'm not going to put any swastikas on me. I'm not that racist. But no, you know,
Thanks
what we're going to do, like you guys
Thanks
are
for
gonna keep
drawing
me
a line
involved.
somewhere.
Yeah, I know, right? No, that wouldn't look good with the beachwear girl with the high cut. Can't be putting swastikas there, you know. But anyway, you know, the thing is, we're all going to be ballsy in our own ways. We're all still going to say, like, Rich is going to laugh. And actually what Rich does is a great form. Almost reminds me of, like, a weird kind of parallel to Mahatma Gandhi, you know, calling police stations to be like, hi, I'm no threat to you, but I just want to let you know that you guys are buttholes and you're the reason we need AK-47s. Like, so few people do. You're still going to do that, Rich. Arya is still going to carry whatever she has to carry with that 38. I'm still going to carry the Beretta, do whatever. But none. Even if there was some great arms revolution, which I don't think any of us would be dumb enough to advertise, even I wouldn't in my craziest, most drunken state as Arya has seen, we're not going to do anything. You ain't going to do blank. It's like the rappers with a certain word I won't use say, and you ain't going to do blank. And it's true. We're not. You know why?
I use cracker in that situation.
Well,
Not
yeah,
cracker,
That
but
wasn't,
cracker.
that wasn't the word.
But we're cowards, dude. Like, you know, and this is why when I was dead drunk, all I was trying to say about G.G. Allen, sorry to bring the guy up, but the thing is that, like, at least as disgusting as that guy was, he was one of the only true anarchists. If that guy went to prison like 4 times, went to jail like
Why are you
70
characterizing everybody as cowards?
Because we are. I'm sorry. We are. I mean, you're not gonna like look at some of my fantasies. Or I'm sorry, not my fantasies. A character's fantasies, right?
Okay, stop. Why are you calling me a coward?
That's a little irritating.
It takes. Sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Jeez, I'm disrespectful when I'm drunk.
Wrap it up. Why are you calling me a coward?
Okay, because you're like. Are you an actual because you're not gonna use violence back when you should, maybe against these scum that are doing this to you.
That's what I figured you would say. Well, Rev, thanks for the call. We've got to move on. I will address your question about cowardice here in just a moment, because I would honestly disagree. I don't think that the Martha Strength is being willing to answer strength with strength. But this is the Call to Freedom. We're going to get into it here in a moment, so don't go anywhere.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Broadcasting, as always, from the Liberty Radio studio here in Keene, New Hampshire. And we were just on the phone with Rev, who essentially said we were cowards for being unwilling to respond to violence with violence. To this, I would ask the question of whether or not Gandhi, to a person that Rev referenced, was a coward then.
Well, first of all, the fact is I'm not unwilling to respond to violence with violence. I'm perfectly willing to do that if and when the political situation merits it, and you don't start a war that you can't win.
That wasn't what Rev was getting at. He meant like you go out into the street smoking a joint or something. A police officer comes up and attempts to arrest you. He's initiating violence against you. Rev's point is that you're a coward for allowing that to happen and not for fighting back.
Yeah, and I would say that he needs to go read The Art of War, because that's not how any of this works. Prematurely going to battle guarantees a loss, and avoiding battle because the battle is strategically wrong is not a mark of cowardice, but of good generalship. So I think that Rev really needs to refresh himself on The Art of War. Have you read it, Rev?
He's no longer with us.
He died?
I dropped the call.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not as bad.
Yeah, no, he's not dead.
Okay, good.
Oh, I mean,
congratulations, Rev, on staying alive for another day.
I would tend to agree. I don't necessarily agree or disagree with the overall sentiment. I mean, the truth is that we could all do more to antagonize the state, to fight against the state. But we do all have lives in which we're invested, and we're hesitant to give up those things, knowing that the consequences will be a lifetime in prison.
And the reality is, I take the same risk today doing what I do. I mean, I'm the guy who's out carrying machetes around because he just might get arrested, and that's an important case to fight. And could I get killed doing that? Yeah. Could I get killed painting up, vandalizing my squad car and driving it around? Absolutely. But to wage a frontal assault you can't win, that's not battle. That's suicide.
I would definitely agree with that. It's a bad idea. Armed revolution ideologically is a bad idea. It's just
let me finish
the reason why it's a bad idea. It's just going to produce a new state. That's all it's ever done. You can't use violence to end the state because state is violence.
Well, the bottom line is I think at some point the violence will move down to the grassroots because these people are not going to go quietly into that black night. And if, let's say that you're correct and that their system is destabilized by Bitcoin, their solution is going to be, or by cryptocurrency in general. You're right. Yeah. It wouldn't be BTC unless they really improve their technology. But, if their society is being destabilized by that, what are they going to do? They're going to outlaw it, and they're going to treat it as the war on drugs and the war on terror combined, and they're going to start killing anybody with a wallet or imprisoning everybody with a wallet. And if that is not answered with violence, they will win, for the same reason that one psycho killer can take out an entire pacifist society if he's really persistent and has stamina. Okay? He just has to chase them down one by one and catch them. He doesn't even need a gun. He could do it with a knife if he's, energetic. So, at some point, I believe there is going to be fighting. The thing that's important to me is that we don't pull a South Carolina and fire on Fort Sumter when Fort Sumter is not firing on us. The Boston Massacre was very
that's Rep's
important
point,
politically.
is that, the SWAT team story and the drug war, and the imprisoning of Ross Ulbricht, it all is clearly them firing on us. And yet you're still saying, no, we need to bear the bullets. It's not time. It's not time.
And
I'm saying it's never going to be time because that's not the right way to go about this.
And you may be right, but I expect that there will be, let's face it, if you know the police are there to kill you, aren't you going to take a few of them with you?
If I knew that the police were coming to kill me, yes.
Eventually it will pass through a stage we're winning that the government is coming to kill us.
But that's a qualitatively different thing from taking up arms and going and raiding a government building.
Well, it is, and that's what I'm saying, is that taking up arms and going and raiding a government building would be akin to what the South did in firing on Fort Sumter, which was the first shot of the Civil War. And a lot of the reason that they ensured their own destruction by doing that was they roused public sentiment against them in the North. And so that makes it easier to beat the war drums. If they had not fired on South Carolina, if they had ignored that and waited for the North to send troops into the South, then people in the North, instead of saying, why did they fire on Fort Sumter, would have been saying, why are we invading the South when it's none of our business?
Well, I think the Civil War is a bit more complex than that. There was a reason they fired at Fort Sumter. It was a military occupation of their land.
Yeah, and they let it, they acted like a government.
They were a government.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
Well, you can't have an armed militia fighting against a government without it being a government.
I would tend to disagree. The question is,
well, it has never happened in human history.
I would say the Viet Cong in and of themselves were not a government. The resistance fighters in Iraq are not in and of themselves a government. They may have among their goals to establish
ISIS,
a government.
These people are absolutely governments.
ISIS has become a government here and there. Al-Qaeda has never been a government. They've always been. They've never tried to actually govern any place. They've been engaged in strikes against us, as I understand it. Now, I could be wrong on that. And maybe in the context, because Al-Qaeda was fighting against ISIS, right?
No. We would have to get Will in here for the discussion on this because I'm not as knowledgeable about it as he is. But they were a multinational organization, essentially. I don't know whether or not Al-Qaeda themselves actually constituted a government.
Yeah, I would say ISIS definitely did when they were able to gain territory. They did declare for themselves a monopoly on the use of force. I don't know that.
Hold on, because that's an established state. What's happening in Sudan right now is a civil war between various states. That doesn't preclude any of them from being states, right? Just because a warlord is fighting another warlord doesn't mean he's not a warlord.
Well, in that case, each of them has declared for themselves a monopoly. It's just that monopoly is being contested by other monopolists, attempting to say, no, you're not. So it's a cartel war, more or less.
I'm not sure that I agree that and I know most anarchists do, but I'm not sure that I agree that an established or even a proclaimed monopoly is actually critical to the definition of a state.
Interesting. Yeah, I've always used a geographical monopoly on the on my definition of a state.
Right. I mean, most people do.
Yeah.
But see, I look at this, like the best example I can ever think of is the villain Anarchy from Batman Arkham Origins, the video game. What he does is he takes like 5 bombs and he sets them all throughout Gotham City. And he says, if these politicians don't do what I want, I'm going to blow up these bombs. By all definitions, he's a tyrant. The only difference between him and Joseph Stalin is that Stalin used troops, while Anarchy here is using bombs. A lot of people will go, well, he's clearly an anarchist, right? He's trying to destroy the government or whatever, or he's trying to undermine the government. But no, he's clearly a statist. He's a tyrant. He's a would-be tyrant attempting to use force, violence, and threats of force and violence in order to force people to do what he wants them to do. To me, that makes him a state.
What is it that he wants them to do? Because if what he's doing is basically a cease and desist order, stop initiating force, you have initiated force, then he's not necessarily wrong. But if he's saying, tax people higher and provide a bigger welfare state,
he is wrong.
then
He's just a new tyrant trying to supplant the other tyrants and take over and tell them how those tyrants can and can't behave. But he's just a tyrant.
See, I don't know, because if all he's saying is how you can't behave is you can't initiate force, I would be willing to say the same.
Even if we assume that that's what it was, and that wasn't what it was. There was something about corruption or some kind of, Batman-style nonsense. But even if he was saying that, I would argue that it still made him a tyrant. In the same way that communists trying to force everyone to be equal necessarily undermines their own ideology, so does attempting to use force and violence to condemn people from being forceful and violent is that same hypocrisy.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,402. Silver at $15.03, and Bitcoin is trading at $11,279. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, Iran has called for the immediate release of its oil tanker after British Royal Marines boarded and seized it off Gibraltar after it took a long 90-day trek around the tip of Africa, presumably to evade sanctions enforcement en route to Syria. Authorities had accused the Grace 1 supertanker of illegal smuggling, as it had reportedly been transporting some 2 million barrels of Iranian oil. The anti-media reports that Iran's foreign ministry had immediately summoned the UK ambassador over the incident, saying the move was unacceptable. An official statement of protest called for the immediate release of the oil tanker, given that it had been seized at the request of the U.S., based on the information currently available. Iran's position is that the EU sanctions on Syria have not been endorsed by the UN, while the U.S. received the news as a positive development in the global crackdown on Iranian oil. But Syria and Iran, as well as some Arab commentators, have shot back that some of the few dozen Royal Marines seizing the tanker by fast roping it on a helicopter amounts to piracy. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. The Brazilian government is targeting one of its biggest critics, journalist Glenn Greenwald, in a move decried by observers as an intimidation tactic designed to stifle opposition to right-wing President Bolsonaro. The Government Finance Ministry's money laundering unit was asked by federal police to investigate Greenwald's finances. That's according to a report Tuesday by O Antagonista. The right-wing Brazilian news site said the investigation would focus on whether Greenwald paid for access to leaked records he used in reporting on the Bolsonaro government's Operation Car Wash Sting. Activist Post reports that attacks on Greenwald and his family, including husband David Miranda, a member of Brazil's Congress, were criticized by UN and Organization of American States Edison Lanza and David Calle. Nothing, says Police State USA. Quite like a SWAT team raiding a family home and killing their dog because they're unable to pay their gas bill. The woman whose dog was killed and home destroyed by SWAT officers is Angela Zorek, and her story about her police state experience will shock the conscience. After fighting the system for nearly 5 years, Zorek's family is finally being compensated. Activist Post reports that according to a lawsuit, which was settled this week, Zorek was the victim of a massive military-style raid and subsequent puppycide. The raid was carried out because police said they needed, quote, to check if her home had electricity and natural gas service, end quote. Zorek admitted to the police she did not have gas, but said she did have electricity. Zorek asked for another inspection to prove that she had utilities. The officers told her that was fine, but the investigation would continue. The next day, April 29, 2014, the home was raided by multiple officers from the St. Louis County Police Tactical Response Unit. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, mothers across the nation invented a new drug to worry about, confirming that the completely fictitious new substance was appearing in schoolyards across the nation and is easily created from simple household products like sugar, window cleaner, and petroleum jelly. Calling the totally made-up narcotic scramp, mothers in desperate need of something to fret over deluded themselves into constantly agonizing over the widespread drug epidemic that exists solely in their minds.
My son sits in his room for hours and hours. It must be Scramp. He's a Scramp head. I bet they'll figure out how to scramp with this too.
In other news, a man confidently strides through a beaded curtain without parting it. A father takes a picture of his daughter every day from birth until he abandons his family. And the same homeless man is always begging for change on the same United flight. Stalled contract negotiations have prevented me from reviewing any more news until I receive a co-producer credit. But for more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, I'm your host, Arya DeMesso, joined in the studio by
nobody.
And it's time to kick off with a different story. If you ever want to know just how deeply corrupt everything about the government is, then this story should sell it to you. Coming to us from Vox, Jeffrey Epstein, billionaire, friend of the powerful, and convicted sex offender, was arrested Saturday night in New Jersey on charges that he trafficked dozens of underage girls in Florida and New York between 2002 and 2005. Epstein, who's 66 years old now, is a hedge fund executive whose friends include President Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, and he had just flown into New Jersey's airport from Paris when agents from the joint FBI and NYPD Crimes Against Children Task Force arrested him.
This is what makes Pizzagate a lot more believable, is that there are strings of arrests going on. The unpronounceable cult in California. You've got the Epstein thing. There's an awful lot of sexual misconduct going on and getting pointed out right now.
Well, he's expected to be charged with one count of sex trafficking of minors and one count of conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking of minors.
Wow.
2 charges. If convicted, he could face a maximum sentence of 45 years in prison. That's a good joke they have there. And I will tell you why that's a good joke here in a moment. So Saturday evening, federal agents carried out a search of his house on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, according to witnesses who spoke to the Miami Herald. And the reporter has reported extensively on Epstein's alleged crimes and on a deal he received from the U.S. attorney in Miami in 2008 during an investigation involving more than 30 underage victims. Epstein is currently being held in New York and is expected to be arraigned on Monday at a bail hearing in federal court in Manhattan. An anonymous source told the Herald they believe the hearing could allow Epstein to escape trial, saying if they grant him bail, he has enough money that he will disappear and they will never get him. Epstein has long been the subject of accusations, lawsuits, and investigations by both federal and local law enforcement and the press for sex crimes against underage girls. These accusations came to a head in 2005 when a Florida woman told police that a wealthy man had molested her daughter. The police began an investigation that was referred to the FBI. The Federal Bureau of Investigation then collected huge amounts of evidence, and in 2008, Epstein pled guilty to the solicitation of prostitution and procurement of minors for prostitution. So he pled guilty. However, because of a deal made with former U.S. Attorney and current U.S. Secretary of Labor, Alexander Acosta, Epstein did not receive a long sentence.
That was a nice job he got after signing off on that deal, too. He's Secretary of Labor now, did he say?
Yeah. Well, he was a former U.S. attorney, so he had a pretty good job then, too.
Well, that's a pretty good job, but he really got knocked upstairs after making that horrendously bad deal. That's really interesting.
Worth noting is that Epstein is friends with Donald Trump and Bill Clinton.
So maybe that's why he got rewarded for such a bad deal.
Yeah, it would seem so. So the FBI had prepared a 53-page sex crimes indictment. That's almost as long as the Manafort, the Trump report thing, whatever, the Mueller report. That's what I'm looking for. That's almost as long as that.
Yeah, now this is a guy who ran the Lolita Express. He had a private island. Both Bill Clinton and Donald Trump flew on the Lolita Express with Paul Epstein. Bill Clinton was famous for evading his Secret Service escort on the Lolita Express. That's interesting. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of shaking going on in Washington right now.
Well, Donald Trump, if all of this is true, then Donald Trump is in on it as well.
Maybe. Or maybe he just knew the guy and didn't know what he was about.
Why wouldn't we give Bill Clinton the same benefit of the doubt?
I mean, I would, and it's quite possible that they're both completely in on it. The thing about Bill Clinton evading his Secret Service escort is the only thing that he's got that Trump ain't got.
Right. Well, instead, the FBI's 53-page sex crimes indictment could have sent him to prison for life, according to the Herald, but instead, he cut a deal with Alexander Acosta, then the U.S. attorney, which allowed him to serve just 13 months. Not in federal or state prison, but in a private wing of a Palm Beach County jail. He was granted work release to go to a comfortable office for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Now, that's really interesting because generally work release is forbidden for sex offenders.
Yes, despite the fact that the Palm Beach Sheriff's Department prohibited work release for sex offenders. Epstein's deal, called a non-prosecution agreement, granted immunity to any potential co-conspirators, meaning that if any of his powerful friends were involved in the crimes, they would face no consequences. And Acosta agreed that the deal would be kept secret from the victims, preventing them from showing up in court to try to challenge it. So just hopelessly corrupt. This is a sex trafficker who specifically trafficked underage girls.
Yeah.
And he served 13 months. Half of that, really, because he spent half of his freaking time not even in jail, despite being a sex offender that should not have been, qualified for work release in the first place.
And that's the kind of thing where if somebody went and whacked this guy, I would have absolutely no complaint about it. I'd shake their hand.
I still would have issue with it. Because it may not necessarily be true that all of these underage girls didn't consent. I mean, if he offered me $1 million, I would sleep with him. Right? I don't know why I don't know why if I was younger, that would suddenly be, oh no, you can't make that decision.
Well, I mean, there comes a time when I'd say you're too young to consent to sex.
I would agree, but I'm not going to attempt to definitively say what that time is.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
One could make the argument. I'm not making the argument, but one could make the argument that younger is even better. I mean, if you're, let me explain. I get that look. I totally get it. But 13 years old, $1 million, you're set for life.
$1 million? You got low standards. $1 million at 5% would only bring in $25,000 a year?
Yeah, but you've got your house paid for. You've got your Lamborghini paid for. You don't have to work ever if you don't want to.
$50,000 a year was the right number. Well, you're not going to be living in a Lamborghini on $50,000 a year. Well, if you have a Lamborghini and
you're forgetting the initial $1 million payment that can be used to purchase those things.
Well, you don't have it to generate interest though. If you're, $100,000, the ability $50,000 a year would last you 20 years.
Having the consciousness to consent to sex does not necessarily mean that they're going to have the consciousness to go, oh, well, I need to not spend any of this $1 million because I will accrue interest on it. No, I would expect most people, whether 12 years old or 50 years old, to immediately make a few large purchases.
Yeah, well,
I would be shocked if they didn't.
And that's why I would say that $1 million doesn't qualify as screw you money. They might think it does at 13, but it doesn't.
The interest aside, once their house is paid for, once they have a paid for vehicle, how much money are they going to need each year that they would burn through whatever is left.
Oh,
I don't think
property
it's
taxes, food, whatever luxuries they enjoy. Which
yeah, but we're
there will
talking probably
be some.
we're talking $600,000-$700,000 left in the bank after all of this, after these purchases.
Yeah, but life goes on for a long
Most
time.
human beings don't. Most human
is
beings
12
don't spend
years.
anywhere near that.
That's $50,000.
Most human beings don't spend $50,000 a year.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, and we seem to be having an issue with the phone lines. We're not sure. We got the phone person looking into it right now. So if you're trying to give us a call, just hop over to discord.lrn.fm and use one of the call lines there. Somebody is frantically trying to call into the show. I assume it's related to Pizzagate, because that always gets people talking. And now we have Epstein and his Lolita Express being arrested. And it harkens back to what was called Pizzagate, which is a thing that I know nothing about because I was just totally disinterested in it. I tend to avoid all conspiracy theories. When people start talking about elite child sex rings and things like that,
it sounds ridiculous.
Well, I mean, whether it sounds ridiculous or not, I mean, humanity has, for long stretches of time, sort of engaged in this dark mythology that having sex with younger people makes them more powerful and extends their life or whatever.
I do look awfully young for my age, although I've never gone for anything under 19.
To me, it's just not... It's not surprising if it's true, but it's also, if it's true, it's going to be buried under so much deceit that no one is going to be able to definitively point to it as true. So anyway, I began looking into Pizzagate. And for those other people out there who are like me and who are just totally unaware of the entire thing, well, aware of it, sure, but unaware of the details of it, here is Pizzagate, evidently. So it all started in early November of an unspecified year because Esquire doesn't know how to write articles. When Clinton campaign, I assume it was 2016, when Clinton campaign manager John Podesta's email was hacked, and the messages were published by WikiLeaks.
That was 2015, maybe.
Okay. Well, he also wasn't hacked. I guess in the strictest sense.
2016.
I guess in the strictest sense, he was technically hacked, but he was using a password of the word password.
Right. Well, he was hacked in the way they found out his password was password is they phished him.
He got emailed a fake password reset link, and he clicked it like an idiot and headed his password over.
Yeah. So he got
phished.
human engineered, but then the kicker was that his password was a moron's password.
Yeah, I mean, he got phished, but I'm not sure that I'm going to agree that he got hacked. But anyway,
I would say we always considered human engineering to be a form of hacking.
One of the emails, according to the New York Times, was between Podesta and James Alefantis, the owner of DC's Comet Ping Pong. The message discussed Alefantis hosting a possible fundraiser for Clinton. That would be Hillary Clinton. Users of the website 4chan, oh Lord, began speculating about the links between Comet Ping Pong and the Democratic Party, according to the BBC. Now, I would agree it's probably unusual for the campaign manager to be emailing small businesses throughout the country in order to get them to host a possible fundraiser.
Yeah,
it seems like you would have
a very well-connected guy who owns this small pizzeria.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of the conspiracy theory nonsense. I mean, really. It's like Michelle Bachmann going on...
Is he not a well-connected guy?
I don't know if he is or isn't.
Well, he's getting email from John Podesta.
Fair point. Well, I mean, that ties into what I was saying. It's that I would think it would be unusual for the head campaign manager like John Podesta to actually be emailing local establishments in an attempt to set them up to host a fundraiser.
Yeah, I would agree with you. This guy was a major bundler, is my understanding.
He was definitely well connected. I mean, if you've looked into it and to any extent, you've probably
I have not.
Oh, I thought you had already done research. I apologize.
Well, just through the break just now.
No, this guy.
She was just correcting me on mine.
Yeah, well connected. I mean,
I wasn't correcting
he's been
you.
at the White House with Obama. He's like had Obama like playing ping pong or whatever. I mean, they're fundraisers for the Democratic Party.
Interesting.
Wow. Obama playing ping pong. That would be a good name for a band.
Well, users of 4chan began speculating about the links between Comet Ping Pong and the Democratic Party, with one particularly vile connection bubbling to the surface. The pizzeria is the headquarters of a child trafficking ring led by Clinton and Podesta.
That was actually a giant jump from what was in the email. There was nothing in the email that indicated that the pizza parlor was involved in any way, except that its logo did happen to incorporate the FBI's acknowledged symbol for man-boy love, which was pointed out by Swan. What's Swan's first name? Ben Swan on the air. Sorry, Ben.
Well, I mean, to be fair on that note, a lot of humans, a lot of human culture, we use the symbols and things like that, and the meaning of these symbols changes over time.
It certainly does. Although I would say it's interesting that when after Ben Swan made that,
I mean, do you have
broadcast,
any idea how many corporate logos incorporate the all-seeing eye of Illuminati?
No, I don't.
It's a huge number of them.
That's not probably relevant to what I'm saying.
No, it was relevant to what I was saying.
Okay, but okay. Well, go on.
No, I was finished.
Okay, I was trying. I don't know what I was trying to say.
The pizzeria and the FBI's.
Oh, okay. What didn't really mention the pizzeria. It mentioned things like having $30,000 worth of pizza brought in from Chicago to Washington, D.C., which is...
Time out. I have made pizza for a living, and it will not survive that sort of travel.
It's a funny way to serve pizza, isn't it? Now, I suppose... You know, and maybe for $30,000 you can transport it in such a way that it will, but it's just
for $30,000 I will transport actual literal pizza to DC. Yes, I would do that.
Yeah, and Chicago style hot dogs are very good, but the whole thing strikes me as very strange. Also, the obsession with handkerchiefs, which I don't know exactly what that means, but he keeps in his emails mentioning that, oh, you left a handkerchief and we'll have to get it back to you. And this was apparently a very important handkerchief, which gave me the idea there wasn't a handkerchief they were talking about at all. And all of the emails are phrased that way. They're phrased. I mean, I'm a drug dealer. I used to have people say, send me 2 slices if they wanted a quarter ounce. Because,
right. Well, to be fair, I overheard you and somebody else having a conversation about steaks while we were at the Fork Fest. And I concluded, I was not 100% sober myself, I concluded that you were using a euphemism for some type of drug, when in fact you were just talking about actual literal steaks.
Yeah, they were good steaks too.
The handkerchief thing supposedly has to do with a coloring flagging scheme that gay men utilize. And
like fag flags.
That's, I think, the idea, right? Like that they hang them out of their pants or wear it or whatever. In
so
some
a handkerchief would be a gay male then?
Well, there's a code to it, so you'd have to look up what the colors mean. There's like different codes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And some of this, we'll watch the Ben Swan expose on it. That'll give us a little bit of background.
Well, this is Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk more about Pizzagate because I don't know anything about it, and I find the idea of delivering $30,000 worth of pizza from Chicago to D.C. to be absolutely absurd. We'll be back in just a moment.
Free Talk Live.
The way I do psychic readings is a little bit different. I read the veins of your penis, and I could tell your future.
That is a new one.
Is this a hands-on procedure?
Yeah. Well,
Does it come with a happy ending?
No, guys, I'm a businessman. I'm very professional. I'll tell you why I think he arrested me. I told him, I said, I can see right here that your life's going to be very short. He got upset and arrested me.
So he thought that you were making a comment about his size.
Yeah,
is what
the size
saying.
of his. Yeah. Look here, I'm only interested in the veins, and I'm very professional.
Now, where did you learn this technique?
Oh, my dad.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And, you know, we anarchists and libertarians, we talk a lot about providing for charities and things like that without a state taxing us in order to pay for them. And I found an opportunity for people to actually do that. Coming out of Sierra Leone is the Kids Compassion Charity, which you can find at kidscompassioncharity.com. Its CEO is Mustafa Cole, who has been here on the show with us before. Great guy, great libertarian, actively working in Sierra Leone to provide villages with wells and things like that that they actually don't have. So go check it out. That's kidscompassioncharity.com. Click the donate button because they do accept cryptocurrency payments. And I think that's awesome. And we've been talking here about Epstein, who was just arrested again over the weekend for sex trafficking, which obviously brought us closer and closer to what they call Pizzagate. And now I am looking at a wanttoknow.info Pizzagate debunkers article all about debunking the people who debunk Pizzagate. And I have to say, from what I've seen so far, it is not only insane, it is also the least the least valuable evidence I've ever seen to substantiate any sort of claim.
Well, any argument, no matter how true, can be made badly, so I would suggest finding out what the original allegations are to begin with.
That's what I'm trying to find.
Then looking into the debunkers, and then the debunkers of the debunkers, because, you know, if you know what's...
I mean, that's the issue, though. If you've Googled this lately, then you would know that if you Google anything related to Pizzagate, all of the top 10 results are people debunking Pizzagate.
Who controls Google?
Google.
Right. Okay. That settles that.
That's my point, though.
So
is
who
that
works for the government to make sure that
none
your
of that matters
information
because
is
you're
what you
overlooking
officially
my
want?
actual point. Was that if you want that initial allegation and their initial evidence behind it, you're not going to find it. It's not there.
Well, dig deeper. It'll be found. It was there.
Was there. Is not there now.
So the Wayback Machine is still there. Has it been taken down from that?
Presumably not.
Okay. I mean, it should still be out there on the web. Blog posts don't go away. Videos on YouTube don't go away unless they're being censored by YouTube.
No one's saying they're going away, but I have 4 minutes during commercial breaks to look into these things.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, I'm not saying you should necessarily look into it during the show. But I can give you a
I'm not going to look into it outside of the show.
I
I have way better things to do with my time. I mean, just to be honest.
Okay.
I am not going to sit there reading about alleged pedophiles and the rabbit hole that conspiracy theorists want to chase me down instead of just presenting evidence. Because this is what the evidence...
See, if my job was talking about things on the radio, which it is, I'd try to find out more about the things I was talking about.
Well,
which reminds me, the first use of Air Force in combat was 1870 by Napoleon.
Yeah, but those were balloons, right? Yeah,
they were balloons.
And even then, there would have been an airport. So anyway, getting back to Pizzagate and what I've got here in front of me, this is them attempting, obviously, Rich is right. I'm not at the very beginning of this entire story. Time passes, so I can never actually go back and be in that context or whatever. But then the debunkers came along and said, no, you're wrong, and here's the reason why. And then this person came along and said, no, you people are wrong, and here's the reason why. And the evidence he's presented is just the most absurd thing I've ever seen.
What is any of it?
I don't even know how to describe it. It's someone's Instagram where he's got a picture of a baby eating or chewing on some euros, and then it's got a little kid here whose arms are taped to the table. But I mean, kids do weird stuff and they want to do weird things. And then it's a picture of Obama playing ping pong. A little thing about sex bracelets where apparently yellow means hug or alternatively analingus, and then it's got a Urban Dictionary link of
That's
what
a big
chicken
gap.
lover means. I mean, yeah, it is. It most definitely is. And he just circles the username of Jimmy Comet, and he's like, "Oh, here's your evidence."
Okay. Well, the fact that somebody can make a bad argument in support of something is certainly not an argument for the falseness of that proposition that he's doing.
I'm not saying he's necessarily wrong. I'm saying that if this is the best evidence he could find to convince me that he's right.
Which brings us back to, is that the best evidence, or is that just the evidence Google chose to show you? And if so,
I don't know,
did
Rich.
Google
I had
choose
3
to
minutes
show
to
you that?
Google it and find it.
Well, okay, I don't understand what you want from me. I'm telling you things about that should modify our judgment of this evidence. It doesn't have anything to do with you personally. We're talking about the evidence and how seriously we should take it, and whether we should take one guy's
evidence.
absurd...
There is no evidence. The evidence that you've said about the emails.
There is no evidence. Oh, that's right. There's no evidence that you look at. The John Podesta emails exist, but you won't.
I unfortunately had to mute you because you... All right, that was interesting. As I was saying, there is no evidence here. The evidence that Rich provided me coming from the emails was significantly more substantial than what I'm looking at here. Of course, he stormed out before I could actually finish that point because, I mean, he was interrupting me and I was actually trying to give his evidence credibility. But the guy here in this article says that these 3 images alone are enough to raise alarm bells. I have to disagree. He says if you look at all of the images in Elephantis' account at the link above, and it's an Instagram link, over half of them are either sexually suggestive, involve children, involve S&M, or some combination of the above. Several of them explicitly link sex to pizza, which is where the term Pizzagate comes from. Now, any evidence of any of that would have made much better screenshots than screenshots of Urban Dictionary definitions, which is what he actually provided. That to me is problematic. If you have screenshots of kids in S&M positions or links to sex and pizza, that is what you would want to put into your blog here to, convince people that you're not a babbling lunatic. One image is a poster promoting the film Lolita with an image of a vagina. Also would have made a much better screenshot than a randomly defined chicken lover, which evidently means an adult male sexually attracted to underage males, used somewhat derogatorily. I can't imagine anybody being called a chicken lover in a positive way. And of course, Lolita was all about a man carrying on a sexual relationship with a 12-year-old girl. But the allegation here, right, is that he's into younger dudes, younger boys, and not younger girls. But again, any of that would have made much better evidence than what he actually provided. Notice in the last image above, Elephantis gives the definition. Oh, so Elephantis screenshotted the definition of chicken lover and posted it to his own Instagram? That's a bit weirder. Evidently, he's openly gay. David Brock, the gay founder of the popular website Media Matters, paid $850,000 in hush money when he started dating Elephantis to keep his previous lover quiet. From his Instagram account, it's clear that Elephantis has an obsession with sex and with children. Many of the images and comments are highly suggestive of sex with children. Any of those images probably would have made better evidence than what was provided.
If you want to see the evidence, go look for them. Obviously this guy didn't do a good job of presenting his argument, but there's plenty of websites that have collected this Elephantis guy's images.
And they are what they're describing them as? I just don't understand. If you're trying to
disturbing things for somebody that runs a kid's pizza parlor. That's all. I mean,
fair point.
You have to look at them for yourself.
Well,
if you want to tear this guy's thing apart, that's fine. But if you want to actually look at the images, they're out there.
I would absolutely agree, but what I'm trying to do here is find out what's actually going on with Pizzagate and what isn't. His job here...
Don't read the debunking of the debunking, though, and start and look at the alleged evidence.
Right, and that's what I was getting at initially, is that information isn't readily available when you have, 3 minutes in the show to actually do the Google search and find what you're looking for before you're coming back and you have to talk and do the show. Well, this is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And if maybe you've been listening to the show for a while and you've been wondering what you can do to help and show your support, well, social media shares go a long way, but so does cash. And you can do that using Patreon at patreon.com/call-to-freedom. Our wonderful sponsors there, including Leah Hoffman and David Jeffries, are currently helping to keep the show up and running, and we can't thank them enough for their support. Again, that's patreon.com/call-to-freedom if you would like to check it out. Now, a lot of people have... Wow, that's jarring. A lot of people have gone through Alephantis' Instagram account to collect the most interesting pictures that were available. None of them were particularly sexually explicit, but they are extremely weird. There is much better evidence of this guy's weirdness, because I think that's probably the furthest I want to go in characterizing it right now than what was actually presented in that initial article. It actually has a link to it that's buried in there, a little difficult to find, that actually goes to a collection of some of his Instagram posts. Some of them are just weird. Like here is someone related to Comet Ping Pong to some degree, covered in blood and looking like he just came out of some sort of BDSM club. Hey, some people are into weird stuff, right? I can't call him a pedophile for that. I would expect a children's pizzeria owner to have a lot of pictures of children on his Instagram account. They're not sexually suggestive, at least not the ones that I've seen. The weirdest one was probably the little girl who was linked to in the initial article, who had her hands taped to the table using some sort of packing tape looking tape. It didn't look like, that paper kind of crap. It didn't look like it was a serious thing or anything like that. And kids do weird stuff. I can't say it's terribly unsurprising. It's a little bit weird, but it wouldn't convince me that anything messed up was going on if I happened across it in my day-to-day life. Well, actually, I think it probably would, but the child doesn't appear to be in distress or anything like that. It mostly is a lot of kids, and then there's weirdness. Okay, so he's a furry, evidently. He's really into pandas. Hey, to each their own. I work with a furry. I don't get it, but hey, whatever. There's also an image of a penis with pizza slices shooting out of it, and that's very weird. The weirdest thing that I've heard so far definitely came from the emails. I'm finding this guy's Instagram account to certainly be strange, and he would be a person just based off his Instagram account that I would avoid. But I'm not sure I agree that the ones compiled here by this debunker guy are the most alarming he could have used. But notice in the last image that after giving the definition of chicken lover as a homosexual attracted to underage males, which we didn't find on his Instagram account in the archives that other people have compiled. It may in fact be there. I'm not saying it's not. But if you were going to compile these sorts of posts into a single place for people to see, I think that would probably be one of the top contenders for doing so.
Yeah, I don't think that image that you're referring to came from the guy from the pizza place. I think that was made by this person who's writing this blog.
I would agree.
That's why it's got
the rest of these did, right? And he's saying that he did say in this article that Alephantis was the one who posted this definition.
He alleges that he posted the definition, but we haven't seen the proof for that.
Yeah, and I don't think you're. I think you're correct. I don't think it came from his actual account.
Here's something I just found out just when I was looking, because we were looking at these pictures of the panda. There's like this panda obsession. Cum Panda is what it's called.
Yeah.
And that's weird on its own.
Is that like a thing?
Apparently, if you look up James Alefantis and that word, you'll find that the allegation that he and his friends were obsessed with this artist, apparently that's the artist's name, and the artist does pedophilic artwork. Apparently, there's one story over here that shows one of the alleged pieces of art. So that's kind of a weird thing.
Okay, so the artist calls himself Cum Panda?
Apparently. That's the claim.
Well, that's not good. I'm not sure what it's actually... that he's not even a good artist. Just a disturbing one. Yeah, that is disturbing.
The artwork here shows what appears to be two young, I would say, children. One of them wearing a panda mask, as he's wearing, I think, or someone is wearing in one of his.
Yeah,
his
I believe
photos.
it was him. I'm looking for it now. I'm not seeing it, but I know it was here because I saw it.
Yeah, and the boy with or whoever this is in the panda mask is looking at this girl, and she's like flashing her underwear. Basically, that's what's going on.
Yeah, the whole thing is creepy. The panda mask in itself being worn here, presumably by Jimmy Comet. Whoever that is, I guess that's Alephantis.
Jimmy Comet is the owner of
that's
Pizza
Alephantis
Ping Pong or whatever, Comic Ping Pong.
I presume it's him who is wearing the panda mask. In and of itself, that's creepy and a little bit weird. Knowing its relation to Cum Panda as an artist who does pedophilic style drawings is I'm going to say this guy probably is a pedophile, just based off of those connections themselves. I don't think that necessarily means that Bill Clinton and all of the other allegations involving it are true. But we were talking about the whole ordering pizzas thing and how they intended to order $30,000 worth of pizzas from Chicago and have them sent to Washington, D.C. I would love to see those particular emails. I'm certain that there is a collection of these emails. But in order to find the most interesting ones, it would be a little bit more than I can do while sitting here talking. Based on what I'm seeing, though, I'm not willing to make any sort of assertion about what's going on or anything like that. But based on what I'm seeing, I'm concerned, and I think this probably needs to be looked into more extensively, especially in light of Epstein. And I don't know to what extent he was supposed to be affiliated with Pizzagate in the first place, or even how we got onto Pizzagate, except I think Rich just mentioned it offhandedly about how so many people are getting busted for sex trafficking and things like that. just in the last few years. So based on all of this, here, according to this author, is a theory certainly worth exploring. Could the reason that Elephantis is listed among the 50 most powerful people in the capital city of the United States be that he is running a child sex ring which serves the powerful elite? That is quite a question. And are some of the strange references to pizza, both in the comments of Elephantis in his Instagram account and in a number of the leaked Podesta emails, actually a code word for child sex? Another important question is, why is the media debunking this? And why was the one CBS report that did come out removed and replaced in very short order? Now take a look at Elephantis' powerful friend, Tony Podesta, and his interest in sexual art. Here are key quotes from a September 23, 2004 Washington Post article on Tony's strange art tastes. So Podesta is counted among the nation's most important contemporary art collectors. Inside the Chelsea galleries, he and his wife, wow, they are not doing a very good job of describing it. Tony favors art with in-your-face nudity and social critique. A piece in his Woodley Park living room is a nearly 8-foot-tall color photo. It's an update of a 15th century painting of the dead Jesus, which replicates the original in vivid color and minute detail minus the shroud, displaying his subject in all his nakedness. You've got to be pretty secure to have an 8-foot-tall naked man in your living room in Washington, D.C. I mean, yeah, that's true, but it's not particularly jarring, I would think. I mean, Christian art is kind of weird, even without Jesus being naked. Another example of Podesta's most unusual taste in art is mentioned in this WikiLeaks email from artist Abramovich to Podesta, where she says, "Dear Tony, I am so looking forward to the spirit cooking dinner at my place. Do you think you will be able to let me know if your brother is joining?" And that's supposed to be another example of Podesta's unusual taste in art? This article sucks. What is spirit cooking, you might ask? Abramovich shot a video of this most strange form of art. Okay, that's how it involves art, which you can watch on this webpage. However, viewer beware, the video is quite disturbing, even though it only uses fake blood. Well, I definitely have to check into that now, just solely for the sake of curiosity. In one part of the video, Abramovich paints these words on the wall with a sharp knife cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand: "Eat the pain." Certainly weird, but artists do weird stuff, so who knows. This has been The Call to Freedom. We'll be back Wednesday, so don't go anywhere. There's always more to get into, and I'm going to spend some time looking into the Pizzagate thing to find out what may actually be going on. Thanks for listening.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their